Welcome back to the Michigan Business Beat, brought to you on the Michigan Business Network. Chris Holman here, coming to you from our studios in downtown Lansing. Actually, we are at the Capital Region International Airport, but we are going to go to downtown Lansing. We're going to spend a little time with Doug Fleming. He's the executive director of the Lansing Housing Commission. Doug, it's always good to have you on. How you doing?
Doing well, doing really well. Things are going good.
Well, let's let everybody know what you're doing, just for those who might not be up to snuff on what the Lansing Housing Coalition does.
Well, the Lansing Housing Commission is a public entity that was created by a public act. All public housing agencies in the state of Michigan are created through a public act. I have a board of directors that's appointed by the mayor, a five-member board. And our mission is to provide clean, safe, affordable housing to the residents in our jurisdiction, which happens to be the greater Lansing area.
All right, so let's talk about from a business and economic perspective. Why is stable, affordable housing important to that area?
Well, first of all, it reduces turnover. If I'm a business owner and I'm looking for employees, if they can find affordable housing near where I'm employing them, the odds of them staying on at my business is going to go up exponentially. If I've got to drive in from 30 miles outside the city, and I can find something better closer to home, that person's going to make that decision as long as the income's similar. They're going to do that. They also, it's a good for a talent attraction. I mean, when people are coming in initially for jobs, a lot of them are making entry level wages, and we're talking firefighters and nurses and teachers and city workers and government workers. Some of them can't necessarily afford market rate rents to start with. So the fact that we have an affordable option as they work their way up on the income scale and move out of affordable housing really helps with talent attraction too in the area. So, and the last thing is just economic development. I mean, not only are, we have people working there paying taxes, we have residents there that are paying taxes. We have, we're fixing up units and going to the Home Depots of the world and buying supplies and stuff. So there's a exponential economic impact of having housing in your city as well.
A real economy. Listen, we've been throwing around the term affordable housing.
Mhm.
Help me. What exactly does that mean?
Well, I'm glad you asked that because the term is often misunderstood. It's an actual definable term. Affordable housing, according to HUD, is anyone making 80% or below AMI, which is the adjusted mean income for that area. In our particular circumstances, that means the county of Ingham. If you're making less than 80% below AMI, you're eligible for affordable housing. There's a second term that's come up lately. It's also definable now, and that is called the missing middle. And MISHDA and some other organizations are beginning to fund projects that help with this group of individuals. And that's people that are between 80% AMI and 120% AMI. So it kind of just goes to this missing group that still may not be able to afford a house or market rate housing, but still needs a little bit of subsidy, but not a lot. We call them the missing middle. So those two terms are defined. What you do hear in the marketplace sometimes is attainable rents. Let me just caution your listeners that that means nothing. That's just somebody trying to pretend that I'm going to help and I can make my rents whatever I want, and I get to determine whether that's attainable or not. We don't get to do that. Our rents are set by the government at both the affordable and at the missing middle level.
So really, is the way you're explaining it, you're a major part of economic development in that regard.
Yeah, we are. And to make the taxpayers feel comfortable, you have to qualify for our housing. I mean, we have a full staff that goes through and people have to provide a lot of documentation to prove that they meet the qualifications for living in affordable housing. And in addition to that, Chris, we do what's called an annual recertification. So you annually have to prove that you're still eligible for our housing. So to live in our housing is a pretty complex process. It takes a lot of time. Certain people don't qualify, and we have to identify who those are. And then once you get in to affordable housing, then you can stay there. The other thing that makes it economically viable is that under HUD rules, when you move into affordable housing, you're paying 30% of your income, not of the rents, but of your income. which means that in terms of economic development, if I'm only paying 30% of my income towards my housing, that leaves me a lot of discretionary income that then I can invest in other things, my car, my childcare, whatever it happens to be. I have some discretionary funds. If I'm not in affordable housing and I'm paying 40, 50, 60% of my income towards my housing, leaves a lot less discretionary money to then spread throughout the community. So we have an economic impact that way as well.
Doug, we have about half a minute left, and I hate to ask you this, but
Mhm.
what are the key challenges? Because you have to build these units. What are the key challenges in financing that?
Like in every business, Chris, it's money. Most of the housing that we build, in fact, in order to be affordable, you really have to use the low income tax credit program. It's a federal program run through the Department of Treasury. Each state is allocated a certain number of dollars. Those dollars are then run through a state agency. Our state agency happens to be MISTA, and they're just a limited number of dollars. There were multiple applications for the last LIHTC round, and 9 people got actual awards. So it's a tough business.
Well, listen, Doug, it is tough, but you're the guy up to it. So keep up the good work, my
Thank
friend.
you.
All right, Doug Fleming, Executive Director of the Lansing Housing Commission, and you've been watching this Michigan Business Beat on the Michigan Business Network. I'm Chris Holman. We'll be back with more.